Greetings, friends. It's me, Wayman, and I'm beating Sister Sunshine to the punch. I'm on the CNN blog, and let's see, Belief blog. Lo and behold, I was checking the news. Here it's 6:30 in the morning. Don't know much about religion? You're not alone, study finds. So here we talking about a study done in America. Odds are that you know Mother Teresa was Catholic, but what religion is the Dalai Lama? And how about Maimonides? And no Googling. What's the first book of the Bible? How about the first 4 books of the New Testament? Americans who can answer all those questions are relatively rare. A huge new study has found. That's why I'm getting all those Christian trick questions. Got a lot of hate PMs from them. Bunch of people unsubscribed when I did that video. But, as I said before, I'm not here for subscribers, friends. And I've done the hard work. I've read the literature. And if you want to talk about something, maybe you should know a little bit about it. And this is why I think maybe even atheists and agnostics are having problems with believers who don't even know anything about their religious literature and theology. In fact, although the United States is one of the most religious developed countries in the world, most Americans scored 50% or less on a quiz measuring knowledge of the Bible. World Religions and What the Constitution Says About Religion in Public Life. The survey is full of surprising findings. For example, it's not evangelicals or Catholics who did the best, it's atheists and agnostics. It's not Bible Belt Southerners who scored the highest, they came at the bottom. Those who believe the Bible is the literal Word of God did slightly worse than average, while those who say it is not the Word of God scored slightly better. Why is that, friends? Well, for me, being agnostic, I read the Bible every day, friends. I try to read other belief systems every day. And I really love the literature, me personally. That's why I would know it. Barely half of all Catholics know that when they take communion, the bread and wine literally becomes the body and blood of Christ, according to Catholic doctrine. And only about 1 in 3 know that a public school teacher is allowed to teach a comparative religion class, although 9 out of 10 know that the teacher isn't allowed by the Supreme Court to lead a class in prayer. The Pew Forum on Religious and Public Life is behind the 32-question quiz, polling more than 3,400 Americans by telephone to gauge the depth of the country's religious knowledge. When it comes to religion, there are a lot of things that Americans are unfamiliar with. This right here shows in politics. Because a lot of times politicians will rewrite history, kind of like what Glenn Beck's doing now. I like to paint a picture that all the founding fathers were conservative, ultra-conservative, godly men, who all thought about God the same way, and so that happens a lot. And these distortions and rewrites of history and simplifications of history skew how people believe religion and think about religion. And it's not real. So that's why you might have to read the literature. That's the main take, says Greg Smith, a senior researcher at the think tank and one of the main authors of the survey. Smith has a theory about why atheists did so well in the quiz. They have thought more about religion than most people. Very few people say that they were raised as atheists and agnostics, he explains. About 3 out of 4 were raised as Christians, he says. They were raised in a faith and have made a decision to identify themselves with groups that tend to be fairly unpopular, atheists and agnostics, he said. That decision presupposes having given some thought to these things, which is strongly linked with religious knowledge. The single strongest factor predicting how well a person does on the religious knowledge quiz is education. The more years of schooling a person has, the more likely they are to know about religion, regardless of how religious they consider themselves to be, the Pew found. Wow, education? What? Reading every day? Not just saying. So this is what bothers me, friends. And it used to be the other way around, you know. Religious people used to be more educated. And all of a sudden, knowledge wasn't a big priority. Why? Because knowledge is looked down upon. Worldly knowledge is terrible. Apparently it's not, friends. And that idea was the biggest scandal of the religious mind. And now they're paying for it. So, sorry, Sister Sunshine. I beat you to the punch in this article, but just had to do it. So, here's a little test your knowledge quiz about your religion. Haven't done this yet, but we'll do it together. See how we do. Giving away the answers. Begin quiz. Where, according to the Bible, was Jesus born? Bethlehem, of course. Next question. Which of these is not in the Ten Commandments? Oh, do unto others. That sounds New Testament. Let's see. Mother Teresa was Catholic. Let's see. Next question. Whose writings and actions are inspired the Reformation? Of course, Luther. Read some of that myself. Let's see. When does the Jewish Sabbath begin? Friday, of course. Joseph Smith was, Mormon. Read that literature myself. Ramadan is a Muslim holy month. I know about that. What is the religion of most people in Indonesia? Of course, Muslim. I looked at a few charts, huh? See, an agnostic is someone who is unsure whether God exists. According to the Supreme Court, can a public school teacher read from the Bible as an example of literature? You bet. Wow. Very nice. I know my stuff. But you should know more about that. A lot more than that. So anyways, I stumbled through this. Haven't had my morning coffee yet, but take care, friends, and remember, if everybody's thinking alike, then somebody isn't thinking.